Welcome to the Achieve Results Now podcast, the podcast that gives you immediate actions you can take to start seeing life-shifting results now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Achieve Results Now podcast. This is Mark Cardone.
And Theron, Feidt.
We have a really, really interesting episode. We're talking about manifestation today, what people get wrong with it, and how you can use it to change anything in your life for the better now.
Yes.
But before we get into that, I want to talk about something real quick, just so people know who are listening. Thank you to all our listeners. We have a brand new website that I want you to check out after this podcast, after you listen to it sometime today. It is new. It is improved. It is easier to navigate. All 500 episodes. Our Refocus to Rise series is like all in one place. You put a ton of work into the website and making it awesome. So if you ever need that refocus, it's there. You can download your copy of Ignite Results right on the website, which puts you into our newsletter, which is going to, get ready for this, get you access to a really cool thing in the next couple of weeks. So you don't want to miss it. So that's why I want to put that in there.
For sure.
Theron put a ton of work into the new website. Please go check it out. It's awesome. And with that, let's get back into manifestation.
All right. So this is a big one, and I think the camp is split. With people. People are like, I don't believe in manifestation, or I totally believe in it. And I think oftentimes both camps get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It reminds me of like if you think all you have to do is think. Like the book Think and Grow Rich, that title is deceiving, because if you really read that book, it's a great book, but that's not all you do. Because if that was the case, I always like, and this might be from Zig Ziglar, and I'm going to steal it. Like, if all you had to do was think about what you wanted, teenage boys would, you know what I'm saying? I'll just stop there, right?
Right.
So it's more, that's part one, but you need more than just thinking about what you want. And that's what we're going to talk about.
100%. I think that's where the camps get split. Is, I mean, you have people who don't believe in it at all, and they say, no, it doesn't work. And then you have people who are on the total other side, who are quantum leaping through multiverses into other,
Right.
and listen, I don't have judgment on either side.
Yep.
You have to do what works for you. But this podcast is what works for us, and people, and like literally the thousands of people that we've worked with through the dojo and through business, so let's get into this, because I think these action steps, as always, three action
Right.
steps for you to be able to manifest the things that you want in your life and have them just magically appear.
Yes.
Magically. So step one, and we've heard this before, we're going to start with the easy one. It's about truth in advance.
Right. People get stuck on this because if you're negative, you're going to say, well, I'm lying to myself. That's not really the truth. And truth in advance is not lying. It's putting yourself on the line and showing confidence and saying, this is what I'm going to make happen. Because let's face it, if we just let life happen to us, who knows? We might have a good day or a bad day. But if we say, listen, I'm going to have a great day, things are going to happen, that's truth in advance. Now, again, that takes guts. Like if I say, hey, Mark, I'm going to have a great day today, and I get hit with a bunch of things, which happens, and then all of a sudden I have a bad attitude. Well, I just proved that I'm not worthy of having a great day because I didn't push through it,
Yeah.
Because to me, I've always thought of this, is it's so easy to be pessimistic. Like if you say, it's not going to work out, and it does work out, well, it worked out that time. Like a pessimist has all angles covered, and it doesn't matter. But an optimist, that takes courage.
Yeah. It's funny, because the reason people are pessimistic is because there's a gap. Like there's clearly I don't know how I can tell people this. There's clearly going to be a gap between where you are and where you want to be,
Right.
right? If
Right.
you're an achiever and you want more in your life, there's a hole there, right? But that shouldn't, and you should understand that that gap
Right.
exists, but that shouldn't stop you from saying, I am,
Hmm.
fit. I am a person who does X, Y,
Right.
and Z. And just sitting in that moment for a minute and believing you are that,
Right.
and then you can attack the gap uh, with a more positive outlook and a more directed approach.
Right. And not that this is a goal seminar thing, but
No,
that's
right.
goal setting 101 is make sure you craft your goal statement like you already achieved it, because
Yeah,
that makes a difference. Because one of the things that people don't always remember or even know, that your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. So whatever you fill your mind in with, it's going to go. It's going to
yeah,
go with. So you're better off filling your mind with positives and in the affirmative and in the present, like I've already achieved it, and then that's going to put those thoughts in your head, and it just works magically. It really does.
and I think writing it every morning.
Yeah. Right.
And we talk about reading them and saying them, but there's just so much in handwriting. Like
Yeah.
write those things down
Hmm.
every morning.
Yep. Now you talked about this, but the next step once you write it down is do an honesty gap, and you
Mhm.
mentioned a little bit of the gap. Make sure you know where you're at. Like, where are you now? Be realistic,
Yeah,
but where do you want to be, and how far away is it? Is it something that, like, an attitude change? How long does it take to change your attitude? Like that. That's all it takes. It's
yeah,
it's literally faster than a snap of your fingers. However, how long do a lot of people take to change their attitude? They take forever or never, right?
yeah,
Now, something like I want to get in shape, we've talked about this before. If you can only do one push up, you're not going to be able to do 25 by the end of the week, right? There's a gap there. So there's the mental things that can change instantly. And then there's more physical things that are obviously going to take a little more time and systems. So be honest with that. But
yeah,
oftentimes the things that aren't the easiest to change, but are the simplest to change, are the ones that trip us up the most, which
yeah.
is the mental side.
100%, 100%. So I think, once you've done those three things, it's time to move into our step two, right? And
Yep.
step two, so step two is funny because, like you said, this is not a goal setting seminar. And when we
Hmm.
talk about goals, we talk about the massive action plan. We talk about putting that plan together of things that we're going
Right.
to do. But I think more importantly for this, coming off of our truth in advance statement, like I am this thing, it's
Hmm.
important for us to make a list of things that we could do
Right.
today to move us closer and close that,
Hmm.
right? And not just that, but things that we're capable of, because what it does is I think it proves to us I'm capable of changing, right? I'm capable of making this change and making this
Right.
effort. So, making that list, understanding I'm not going to do all these things, but making that list of 10, 15, 20 things that I could do today that would move me closer helps give my brain that, oh, I can do this. Like,
Right.
and I think
Right.
we've had that feeling before where we go, oh, this is
Yeah.
possible. And then it
Hmm.
opens us up a little bit.
And the other part of this is you want to build rituals, right? Rituals that are going to create momentum. So daily things that
Yeah.
you can work towards. And it's simple things, repeatable things. It could be the time of day that you get up. It could be what you do in your morning. We talked about morning routines. It anything that's moving you towards where you want to go, you think of some simple things that you could do. We
Mhm.
talked about this a lot, but if I'm going to exercise in the morning, if I set myself up for success the evening before and I set out my workout stuff and I make sure everything's set to go, so literally when I get up and get ready, I don't have any extra steps of trying to find my sneakers or trying to find my workout shirt. It's already there, ready to go, and that also de-stresses you.
Yeah.
You're not adding stress that you could have alleviated if you just did a little bit more advanced prep. And those are little rituals that make a huge difference.
And I think if you're going to be taking any kind of action, one of the best things you can do is removing any hidden resistance.
Right.
And we all have it. I mean, there's the easy resistance that we see, but then there's the things like, well, I use my phone for my alarm clock and I can't stop grabbing it, turning it off, and then scrolling through social media for 20 minutes. And then by the
Yeah.
time I'm done,
Yeah.
I missed my workout. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and And I look at myself in the mirror every day. This is not me, but I look at myself every day in the
Yeah.
mirror and I go, "Oh my God! Like I should have worked out, but I didn't. I did that instead." That's a piece of resistance that you can easily remove. There's a lot of things, that trip you up that can be easily removed, changed, or altered that'll help you even take those small actions.
Well, anybody that knows you, when you said I look in the mirror every day, and not me, and you wouldn't say that. You would say how look how handsome I am.
I would say that. I do say
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And you do
I
say
say,
that, yeah.
man, for an old guy, you're good looking.
For an old guy.
Exactly what I say.
So step three, and this is a key step. This
Yeah.
this is something. This is one of them, and not that the first two steps aren't difficult, but I think this one probably trips people up. And it's really just their framing is why it trips them up. And this is looking for proof.
Yeah.
Now, looking for proof, here's the thing. Just that statement of looking for proof can go in either direction.
Yeah.
Looking for proof that I'm a loser or looking for proof that I'm a winner. Those are your two options, right? Of course, there's a little gray area in between. But what people will do is, see, this is why it won't work. See, this is why I can't ever achieve my goals. And they look for proof of why they're right in the negative.
Yeah.
And what you need to change your brain to is you need to hunt for the positives. Hunt
Yeah.
for proof that it is working. We have a saying in the dojo, progress, not perfection. And you know me, I am a perfectionist and I have to work to tame that down. But when I discovered that concept decades ago, that really helped me personally, but more it helped my students. So I mean, you know how I used to be. I'm
Yeah.
I'm way
Yeah.
I'm way calmer.
And this is really like when people talk about manifesting, I try to explain to people from at least from my personal experience and perspective, this is what manifesting is, right?
Yeah,
This
right.
is when you are redirecting your brain to look for those things that you are creating in real time, right? And it's hard to do in real time.
Yeah,
Because I guarantee you, everyone listening to this podcast right now can think of something they did yesterday that was progress toward one of their goals,
right.
even if it wasn't huge. It was
Yeah,
something small. And it's funny. I mean, last night I was teaching class. We had a student who was struggling, to get through it. And I'm
yeah,
sure he's, right now he's home sitting, oh man, I didn't make it through class or blah, blah,
right.
and I don't know this, but I'm saying this is what somebody could do if they struggled
Sure,
with the class,
sure.
is they could go home and they could be like, man, everyone was looking at me. I struggled. I didn't make it through the whole class and blah, blah, blah. When in reality, like what I see somebody who showed up at the
Yeah,
class, who
right,
made it through most of a
right.
hard class, right? Not an easy class. It was a hard class.
Yeah,
Nobody's judging anybody there, right? Like, but just changing that little tweak of perspective, right, should open up the whole world in, wow, I'm not, somebody who can't do this. I'm somebody who's doing this.
right.
And I always give so much credit to people who come into the
Hmm.
dojo. And because, like, look, I see you struggling. You have
Yeah,
seen me struggling
sure,
on the floor,
sure.
right? And I've been in spots where I'm like, God, this sucks. I'm terrible. And you're there to say, no, you showed up, you did it.
Yeah.
That's what we're there for. So I think that's such a cool part of manifestation, that you can literally find it in
Hmm.
things you did yesterday without changing anything.
Yeah, it reminds me of that story of a guy that got himself up and started working out and got in shape and decided to do a 5K. And he ended up doing the 5K with a couple hundred people and he ended up last.
Yeah.
And then he felt bad because he was last. And then somebody came up to him and said, well, you're not last. All those people that are still sitting on their couch that never actually did the 5K,
Yeah.
they're last. And all those hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of people are way behind you. You're not last, right? And that was a perspective shift. And then all of a sudden the guy, it was like a light bulb going off
Yeah.
that my perspective of I was last with everybody that raced, but I'm way ahead of everybody that didn't even try.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what reminded me when you told the story about class.
Yeah.
That same thing. Like if you're the one in class struggling the most, You're better than the ones that didn't show up.
That's right. Yeah.
And somebody
Or,
has to be first and somebody has to be last, right? It
yep.
doesn't matter as long as you're making progress. That's the key. And you're showing up and trying. That's
And
really what matters.
we all know like you can really take a class, like even if you're super fit, you can make a workout out of an easy class, right? So the people who are fit, who aren't pushing themselves, are
Right.
in like those ones coming in last place. So I think doing that daily evidence hunt, right? Really looking every day,
Yep.
building what I call building your proof
Hmm.
pudding, right? Baking your proof pudding, um, is really important. Looking through your days and saying, where did I win here? I always tell the story when I started my first YouTube channel. I remember writing in my journal, pennies are money too, because I made
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
8 cents
yeah.
on a
I remember
video.
this story. Yep.
Yeah, I made 8 cents on a video, and I was like, you know what?
8 cents. Yeah.
I'm not a billionaire, but it's money, so here we go.
Yeah.
Um, so that daily evidence hunt.
Yep. Now, once you are in the habit of doing the daily, I think it's important that you do a weekly, where you do a weekly review of your rituals, your habits, your progress. And it doesn't have to be long, and it shouldn't be long. If it's 5, 10 minutes, that's all it is. But what that does for me, and I know you do the same thing, it caps off your week and then sets yourself up for the following week of here are the areas that I wasn't as strong with that I could have been. And this is what I'm going to focus on the following week. So that recap, and it could be Sunday sometime, morning, afternoon, evening, or it could be early Monday morning if you get up before things get going. So that's usually the time frame of days. Um, but that weekly ritual review is key.
Yeah, and it's funny because people also say, well, that seems like a lot of work, and I say, well, wouldn't you rather know it, on a weekly basis what you need to tweak and adjust as opposed to once a year? Like
Yeah,
when you're doing it once a year and you go, well, how did I do? And I
yeah,
didn't do anything for a whole year. It's
yeah,
nice to be able to
yeah,
do that in real time.
yeah,
Where daily you're going to pick on yourself too much. So once a week,
yeah.
kind of going through is really good idea. And like I love public accountability.
Yeah.
You get like tell people your wins. Talk to people about your wins. You don't
Hmm.
have to brag. You don't have to go out and be like, oh, look, went on the treadmill for 4 minutes, and you don't have to be that person, but
Yeah,
you should be telling people, like, hey, I'm proud of myself today.
yeah,
Talk to those people that love you, that want you to win, and
yeah.
tell them you're proud of yourself. Pete, that's another thing that I think people can do a better job at manifesting is looking at the world like the people are supporting you, right?
Right.
Because I think a lot of times we can go out and say, oh, people are judging me, people are looking at me, people, that's where imposter syndrome comes from, which we did a
Hmm.
whole podcast
Hmm.
on. But I think realistically, like, if you're in the right rooms, most of the world wants you to win.
Right.
Nobody's
Right.
rooting against you in the right rooms.
Right.
So I think really, mastering that will help you see more wins that way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. So let's review our
Yep.
our three steps and we'll quickly go through the sub steps. So the first step is truth in advance, and this is talking about we're not lying to ourselves, but we're writing a truth in advance statement of where we want to be in the present stance or present tense, excuse me. Um, do an honesty gap. So where are you honestly and where do you want to be? And know that. And then the last part is that daily morning anchor. So anchor it in the morning, read it out loud, rewrite it, like we talked about. That's such a powerful tool.
I think step one was actually go to our website, go to our new website. But
Oh,
that's okay.
right, right, right.
But
Got
that's
it.
okay.
Sorry.
Let's get into we're in the actual steps. So step two, make that list of your actions that prove to you, that show you that you are a person who can be that thing that you said. Build those momentum rituals, right? The things that you do on a consistent basis that help you build momentum. And at the same time, take out those hidden obstacles, those things that kind of tug back at you. Try to eliminate as many of those things as you can.
And then step three is look for proof. And this is daily. Look for evidence that you're moving in the right direction, you're progressing, and let that reinforce and motivate you more. Then recap your week with reviewing how's it going, what are your weekly rituals, are your habits and are your actions aligning with where you want to be. And then the last part of that step is that public accountability, whether you're sharing with public or you're sharing with a good friend that can keep you accountable, so you can use it in both directions where you're getting praise or where you're getting a checkup with somebody that you trust.
And that wraps up this episode of the Achieve Results Now podcast. If you found this interesting, fun, exciting, if it gave you some results, give us a follow. Make sure you share this with some people. That's how we grow. And we will see you on the next episode.
And go to our new website. And
Go
then
to our
we'll
new
see
website.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening. Hop over to our website at www.achieveresultsnow.com to get your free copy of our book, Ignite Results, 4 specific daily actions to help you achieve results now. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Achieve Results Now. Thanks for listening, commenting, and subscribing. Now get out there and achieve results now.